Good evening, and welcome to the Planning Commission of the City of Moreno Valley. And I'll call this meeting to order on May 23rd, 2024 at 6 p.m. May we now have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Zeitz,
Here.
Commissioner Terrell,
Here.
Commissioner Stefan,
Present.
Commissioner Cobian,
Here.
Commissioner Dejanay,
Here.
Vice Chairperson Baker,
Here.
Chairperson Gonzalez.
Here. I invite Commissioner Zeitz to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are now going to move to the approval of the order of the agenda. May I have a motion and second to approve the agenda?
I move that we accept the agenda as submitted.
I'll second.
A motion was made by Commissioner Baker and seconded by Commissioner Steffens. Please start the vote. Roll call.
Roll call.
Sorry, we're having technical difficulties. It's not populating a vote, so if we could go to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Zeitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Terrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Stefan,
Yes.
Commissioner Cobian,
Yes.
Commissioner Dejanay,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Baker,
Yes.
Chairperson Gonzalez.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion carries 7-0. Before we hear public comments this evening, I ask and encourage everyone participating to keep their comments respectful towards others, especially towards the individual speaking. I embrace and support the First Amendment right to free speech, including everyone's right to speak at the meeting and share his or her views about issues concerning our city. But we can accomplish more as a city and as private citizens by being civil and respectful toward one another in this meeting. During the public comment period for each item, as well as during the public comment period for items not in the agenda, each member of the public who has signed up to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak. Any person wishing to address the commission on any matter, either under the public comment section of the agenda or scheduled items or public hearings, must fill out a request to speak form available at the door. The completed form must be submitted to the secretary prior to the agenda item being called by the chairperson. In speaking to the commission, members of the public may be limited to 3 minutes per person, except for the applicant for entitlement. The commission may establish an overall time limit for comments on a particular agenda item. Members of the public must direct their questions to the chairperson of the commission and not to other members of the commission, the applicant, the staff, or the audience. Now, we'll move into public comments on any item not on the agenda. Are there any speakers for items not on the agenda?
No speakers.
Okay. Now we'll move on to the next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent calendar. All items listed on the consent calendar are considered to be routine and non-controversial in any and may be enacted by one's motion unless a member of the commission requests the item be removed for separate action. Items withdrawn for report or discussion will be heard after the public hearing items. Questions or comments from the public on a consent calendar matter are limited to 3 minutes per individual and must pertain to the subject under consideration. At this time, would any commissioner like to pull an item from the consent calendar for a separate vote or comment? Seeing none, do we have any public comments for items on the consent calendar?
No speakers.
May I have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar?
I'll move to accept the consent calendar as submitted.
And seconded. You have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Baker and a second by Commissioner Steffens. Can we please start the vote? Commissioner Sights can vote. Roll call.
Commissioner Zeitz,
Abstain?
Commissioner Terrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Stefan? Yes, no?
I wasn't here for that, so I have to abstain, right?
You actually do not have to abstain, but it's up to you.
Okay, I'll abstain.
Commissioner Cobian,
Yes.
Commissioner Dejanay,
Yes.
Chairperson Baker. I'm sorry, Vice Chairperson Baker. Thank you. Chairperson Gonzalez.
Yes.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the non-public hearing items. At this time,
Mr. Chair,
oh, sorry.
if I may, I apologize. I just want to make sure that, for the record, it's clear that that item did pass.
Okay. Sorry. The motion, yes, it did pass. Non-public hearing items. The next item on the agenda is the non-public hearing items. At this time, do we have any items? Okay.
There is no items.
Moving on to the public hearing items. The next item on the agenda is public hearing items. Item number 1. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to allow the construction of a self-storage facility with 995 storage units. Can we please have the staff report?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the commission, Robert Flores, plan official. This presentation will be made by the project planner, Mr. Juan Galvan.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the Planning Commission. Today, I present a project PEN 23-0103, a conditional use permit for the proposed self-storage facility on a 4.37 acre vacant site. The applicant is Rick Wallace for West Coast Storage. And Chris McCoy is here in the audience for any questions at the end of this presentation. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to allow the construction of a self-storage facility with 995 storage units. The proposed project is located on the south side of Alessandro Boulevard, west of Moreno Beach Drive, on a 4.37 acre vacant parcel within the community and commercial district. The proposed project is consistent with the goals, policies, and objectives of the city general plan, as well as the requirements of the CC district and Moreno Valley Municipal Code. The project is also exempt from CEQA under section 15332, class 32, infill development projects. Approval of the CUP is requested for the proposed project to allow for the development of self-storage facility with the indoor and outdoor accessible storage units, including climate control units. The proposed project consists of 995 storage units within 6 single-story buildings, identified as building A, B, C, D, E1, E2, and a small office and retail area that is part of Building A. Building A, again, has an office/retail space and has 190 units. Building B has 374 units. Building C has 208 units. Building D, 186. E1, 18. E2, 19. The total is 995 units. The municipal code allows 4 storage facilities within the CC district, subject to approval of this conditional use permit. The proposed project will have vehicular access from Maltby Avenue and Alessandro Boulevard. The main access and office entrance will be located off of Maltby Avenue. The facility includes a total of 12 on-site parking spaces for customers and staff parking, which is sufficient to comply with the parking requirements under Title IX of the code. The storage facility includes a contemporary and modern architectural design. The design elements include split-face block walls that introduce texture and dimension to the buildings, vertical and horizontal metal sidings with stone veneer and tube steel vine trellises. The proposed conceptual landscape plans provide enhanced landscape treatment around the perimeter of the project site and throughout the project. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 2024-16 attached here too, and incorporated here in reference one determining that conditional use permit PEN 23-0103 is category exempt from the provision of the California Environmental Quality Act as a Class 32 exemption. To approving conditional use permit PEN 23-0103, subject to the attached condition of approval, including as Exhibit A of Resolution Number 2024-16. So this is the end of my presentation. If Planning Commission has any comments, I'm here to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. Are there any commissioner questions for staff? Commissioner Terrell?
Yes, I have a question. Now, I was reading in the special conditions on our package 22. Now, it says, a lot of the special conditions, it says, will the, I'm asking the question about the public improvements. Now, it says it's gonna be completed prior to building final. Now, what is building final? Does that mean that before the building is completed, that these improvements will be done before that time?
Actually, thank you for that question, Commissioner Terrell. Prior to building final is a milestone in the construction process. That is when a building that has been under construction is inspected the final time and given occupancy. So it's more so, it's not necessarily when the building is done, it's when it's ready to be occupied. That's the final.
Okay, and I have one more question, Mr. Chairman. The next question is, throughout this, the condition of approval, I see a lot of things like, let me refer to my little notes here. It says, public safety service funding. Now, they pay into that. So what is that funding used for? Is it used for patrol officers funding ongoing expenditures for patrol officers for that impacted area, or is it for the entire city, or is it just for that area?
If I am correct, I believe you're talking about the community safety special district.
Yes, sir.
And that special district, there is a fee that's allocated or applied to the project, and that is intended, from my understanding, to cover all public safety services for the city.
For that.
Not specific to the site, but for the whole city.
Oh, that's what I'm
It's-
saying, because it's not an impact fee, but the funds come. Are those funds restricted, so it can only be used for the
Yes,
police?
those funds that are part of that district are restricted to whatever that district is allocated for.
Okay, and I read something else about landscaping. Now, landscaping, and it says the developer, it says they have to do the landscaping up to say for a year. What I'm reading. Now, after that year is gone, we take it over the maintenance of the mediums and the shrubberies and all that stuff that's on the public, I guess you would say right away.
Public right away, yes. So yeah, typically when you have new landscaping, especially when it's landscaping in the public right of way, the developer and the contractor are responsible for to ensure that that landscaping is maintained and thrives and lives for that first year. After that, it is taken over by the city and our special districts that handle that, the maintenance of the public right of ways for the city.
Okay, I got one more, Chair. And Malt B, I drove over there. And in a sense, the improvements, majority of the improvements is going to be in front of the project, but not, will it ever connect to the community, to the neighborhood that's next to it? Because when I drove over there, I saw the street name, and I looked across, and I'm saying, so is it going to all the work is going to be done in front of the frontage of that project?
Yeah, typically the way it works, and that is an existing road, but it ends at one point to the west, I believe.
Yes.
And this project is conditioned to improve that road up to along the frontage of the road and on both sides. But it is going to end, and it's not going to connect at this point. Typically, that's how developments are conditioned, to only improve the frontage of the road unless something like an environmental assessment calls for off-site improvements and the extension of that road for whatever mitigation. But in this case, yes, it's only going to be the frontage part of the property.
Thank you, sir. That's all the questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Zeitz?
On the environmental impact report on this, I've had questions from the public on this, that with building storage units, they are in the belief that it does make it easier for them to get different projects in that may not have gone in before because of this particular project was built first. Is there any truth to that? In other words, if somebody comes in and they tear this place down, are they going to have to go through the full EIRs, everything they need to build whatever they're going to build there?
Just thank you, Commissioner Seitz. Just a point of clarification, this project does not have an environmental impact report.
Okay.
It was categorically exempt, and there was an analysis done for that, that finding. But if this project, the conditional use permit that's before you today is for this specific project, for the storage facility for this site. If this site was ever to be redeveloped for whatever reason, any new project needs to come back to the city with the proper entitlements, and every entitlement has to go through the proper process environmentally under CEQA to get assessed for the specific impacts or potential impacts of that project.
Okay, just wanted to clarify. And then I have two other quick ones. One, how many actual notifications were sent out to the neighbors?
I don't have the actual amount, but what I can say is that the city has a 600-foot radius from the property, and we mail out to every property owner within that radius. I don't have the specific number with me today.
So in having the large fields on each side, it would be probably very few then.
Well, that's actually twice as much as what we are required to do
No,
by the state, so we're capturing more. But yes, depending on the size of the lots, that's how many we capture within that radius.
Okay. And
I
then,
would also note that we do also go above and beyond state law by also posting the site, as well as putting it in the press enterprise for notification as well. So we do exceed state law in multiple ways, not
Excellent.
just in the mailers.
excellent, thank you. And then the last one, is there any possible way that they may turn this into a truck parking lot?
The conditional use permit is for mini storage. It does not allow truck parking.
Or RV or anything of that nature?
This one does not include any outdoor vehicle parking
Thank you.
of any kind.
That's my question.
Thank you. I have a question or two. How many storage facilities, and this is more of a general question, have been approved east of Paris? Is this the first one on this side of Paris that you're aware of, or?
That I'm aware of, yes, I would have to turn to our assistant city manager. He has a little bit more history and background. Maybe he's aware of if there's any more.
I'm not aware of any entitlements for self-storage east of Paris in the 5 years that I've been here with the city. And I'm trying to picture any east of Paris, and I cannot place one currently. I know of a few, I know of one, well, it's technically east, I can think of one that is technically east of Paris, but it is on the east side of Paris.
Correct.
And it has been there for a very long time.
Correct. I was more referring to that's entitled but not built yet. But I was trying to find one, but I couldn't find any. And my second question, this specific is it's zoned, the land use is commercial district, like commercial retail per se. The properties west and south of this are more commercial office, if I'm not mistaken. The land use, is that correct?
I know that the property surrounding it is commercial, the specific district. This site specifically is
Correct.
community commercial.
Community commercial.
But I believe that the property to the west is also community commercial, and further, more to the west is residential.
I was looking at, okay. It was just a different color, that's why. Light purple, lavender. Because I had a question on that, if that's true, if it's more of a office, if not, then.
If you just give us a second,
Sure.
I believe
Thank
we
you.
do have that information. We want to get you the right information.
Thank you, Robert.
We can move on to the next question and we'll have an update for you.
That's it for me. If there's anyone else that has questions.
My question was the vacant future area. It looks like this property is going to mostly surround this vacant future area south of the Chevron station and kind of sort of north and west of this. Is that already purchased, that area?
Purchased, I'm sorry.
Is it owned by anyone? Because it
Yeah.
looks like there's a little a cutout area between the Chevron station.
Yes, that is a separate parcel and that is owned by, and entitled for a car wash.
That's okay. That's what I was wondering about. Yeah.
And Chairperson Gonzalez, I do have an answer for you. Yes, you are correct. The property directly to the west of this site is commercial office.
So this undeveloped or vacant area will buffer this mini storage from the, I guess, the existing residential with more of a office component, if that makes sense?
Yeah, typically the commercial office type zones are less intense than the community commercials or the general commercials. So it can provide for a buffer based on the types of uses that are allowed in that zone.
Thank you. There's no more questions. Okay. Okay, at this time, we will now open the public hearing at 6:22 p.m. and hear public testimony. The clerk will call upon each person who has respected to speak. Each member of the public wishing to speak will have a maximum of 3 minutes to speak on the public hearing item. Do we have any speakers?
We do not have speakers.
Would us left to provide any additional information?
Staff does not have any additional information.
Is the, I know the applicant is here. Would the applicant want to provide a comment to their project?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name's Rick Wallace. I'm the architect with Wallace Design Group, and we're the applicant for the project. Our office is located in Mission Viejo. The owner, as mentioned, and I should say owner-operator, is also here. Chris is here, and so is the civil engineer if you were to have any questions. But, and of course, I'm here too if you have any questions. But I do want to add, regarding the elevations, and we worked with staff on it, and one of the design criteria is because it is an office type of zone, that the project has a motif that has an office look. So we went a few renditions back and forth during the process of developing the elevation. So that was the intent, is to give a more of an office look at least from the surrounding elevations from Moreno Beach, Alessandro, and then Maltby. So if any questions, I'm available, or like I say, the developer, operator, and civil engineer.
Go ahead, Commissioner Kobe.
What's your time, if you get approval today, let's say you get approval a month from now from city council, will this need to go to city council? No,
Yeah, I did.
because it's already.
Oh.
What's your timeline for construction?
I would not be able to answer that, but Chris is able to answer that as the developer owner.
Okay.
If you have any questions architectural, I'd be happy to answer them.
Did we see a rendition of the elevation of the, I guess that'll be the west elevation on Myrtle Beach? Did we see that? Did they show that on?
Yes, that was part of the presentation.
Can you show that again, please?
Yeah, can you show that again?
Yep.
So would that be the west? No.
That would be the one labeled east elevation.
So the one that, the second from, it's No, the,
Yeah, Moreno Beach,
third-
it
third
says
from the
Moreno
bottom.
Beach
the
Street.
second one from the top, that's along Moreno Beach.
Is that glass right there? Is that like a fake glass or something? As far as like,
I can't see.
I'm looking at the Myrtle Beach street view, east elevation. Is that actual glass or is that
If I remember correctly, those are metal sidings.
metal siding? Okay. Is that supposed to depict like a window? Like a
Those
faux-
are windows.
Oh,
If I can have you please go back to the mic, sir?
So the one on the far left is the office elevation, and with the awning canopy over it. So that looks into the office. The glass elements at the second and after that do not go to the floor or a spandrel non-vision type glass. The ones that go down to the floor are vision glass. And then off to the right there's a comment. That's where as it mentions, future car wash is off to that side of the Moreno Beach. That clear?
yeah. Thank you.
Sorry, my name's Chris McCoy. I work with, or work for Northwest Building, which owns this property. We plan to get started, I believe in Q2 of next year, depending on building permit approval, and this evening.
Okay, thank you. Give me a question for staff. Is there a certain timeline where this approval, where it requires a developer to come back? 'Cause I feel like we're approving projects and we're seeing projects sit for multiple years. Is there a statute of limitation, I guess, where the developer would have to come back and get reapproval after a certain amount of time?
So, the conditional use permit and most of our permits have an initial approval period, so there is an initial period of multiple years. And then after that period.
What is
they-
that? How many years is
It's
that?
3 years, the initial period.
3 years.
And after that, they can come in and request an extension of that approval, but there has to be justifiable reason for that. If a permit does lapse or an extension is not given, then they would have to come back in and go through the process all over again to get entitled.
Okay, thank you.
Gentile.
Sir, I wanted to ask you, let me see here. What went into your decision-making of putting a storage center, self-storage in that location? Your thinking process,
For this particular location, we do analysis of the surrounding areas. And what we try to understand is the available square footage of storage in the area. And we generally keep that to a 3 to 5 mile radius. For this particular location, we are not aware of any other existing operating stores. So seems like a great opportunity. Plus there's a lot of future housing coming that sounds very appealing to us.
Thank you.
When they,
Go ahead.
when they said there was gonna be like a retail, is that similar to like U-Haul, where they have things that you can purchase or anything like that?
The retail component would be confined to mostly like boxes, moving components, boxes, tape.
Well, that's what
Things like
U-Haul
that.
does.
Yeah, you
Similar.
also rents out trucks and everything else.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
But I meant the retail part of it.
yeah, the retail is a very small component of the project, but that is what would be sold.
Okay.
So moving accessories.
So that would be the office area.
Correct.
I have a question, and kind of goes into Commissioner Cobian's question. Actually, there was an article, I pulled it up today on New York Times. Americans went all in on self-storage that demand is suddenly cooling. And they were talking about the challenges with self-storage, with property taxes and property insurance and interest rates. Do you see that impacting the development of the site and prolonging kind of the development of the project, or it's these maybe more issues are not in play in this.
Are you asking if the current economic conditions?
Yeah,
Okay.
compared for
No,
this
that-
site.
That, for this particular project, that is not a problem for us.
Thank you. Okay.
Sir, another question I would like to ask. I don't want to talk about the security plan, nothing like that, but there's, I assume there are going to be cameras. Am I correct about that?
Yes, sir. There will be internal cameras as well as exterior cameras, only focused on our property itself. But we do utilize a security system that notifies us. It's monitored 24/7.
Okay, and one more. And the question, and another one is, there's not going to be a living quarters for the for a manager or something.
No, sir. The 24-hour surveillance kind of negates the need for that. But we do have 3 staff members that will be on site, are employed. We generally hire from local community as well as same thing for our construction teams. We bring in local labor for that.
Local labor?
Hire local.
Oh, all right, excellent. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
No more questions at this time.
Thank you.
Okay. If there are no more speakers for public testimony, then we will close the public testimony at 6:32 and move on to deliberations or a motion and second on the item. Do we have any commissioner deliberations or comments? Okay. Do we have a motion and a second to accept staff recommendations?
I'll move that we adopt resolution 2024-16 attached hereafter and incorporated hereinafter by reference. Number 1, determining the conditional use permit PEN 23-0103 is categorically exempt from the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act, and also the Class 2 exemption of the CEQA guidelines and Section 1532 in field development projects, and then also approving the conditional use permit of PEN 23-0103, subject to the attached conditions of the approval included in Exhibit A, Resolution number 2024-16.
Now, the easy part, I'll second that.
We have a motion made by Commissioner Vice Chair Baker and seconded by Commissioner Dejanay. Can we please start the roll call vote or screen vote? This probably has to be roll call.
Yeah, I'm still showing that Chairperson Gonzalez, Stefan, and Zeitz have not voted.
He doesn't have.
Doesn't have it?
No.
Okay.
Come on.
We can just do a voice vote.
Commissioner Zeitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Terrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Stefan,
Yes.
Commissioner Kobian,
Yes.
Commissioner Dejanay,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Baker,
Yes.
Chairperson Gonzalez.
Yes.
Thank you.
The motion carries 7-0. Can we please have a staff wrap-up?
Yes, thank you. This item stands approved unless appealed to the City Council. Anyone wishing to appeal the decision of this body may do so by filing an appeal application with appropriate fees with the Community Development Department within 10 days. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item in the agenda is other commission business. We have a brief report for Assembly Bill 2485 as requested by Commissioner Terrell. Can we please have the report?
Yes, good evening. Planning official here again, Robert Flores. I'm going to have a very brief report, and I'm going to be available to answer any questions on this Assembly Bill. Essentially, Assembly Bill, or AB 2485, is a bill that was introduced earlier this year, in the Assembly, that proposes changes to the way housing projections and allocations are done at both at the state level and the regional level. The proposed changes will impact the RENA process for the seventh cycle and beyond, which the seventh cycle will start in about 3 years, the process for that. The seventh cycle RENA will be used by the city and other jurisdictions for the seventh cycle housing element update. This bill is still currently in the process, currently is in the Senate for consideration. That concludes my report. I'm available to answer any questions that you may have.
Are there any commissioner questions for staff regarding the report?
I just wanted to make a comment that I prepared. Is that if that's
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, distinguished colleagues and staff and residents, I bring before you today the California Assembly Bill 2485 for the consideration of our commission and support and recommendation to our city council. I bring this forward to you today as I believe it is our obligation as a planning commission to recommend to our city council members that they issue a support letter for this bill. Our city has included it in its legislative advocacy program, a support position to reform measures that emphasizes local control in implementing the real housing needs allocation, otherwise known as RENA. Supporting AB 2485 is consistent with our city policy. RENA numbers are mandated, the mandate the amount of housing for which our city is required to provide for in our zoning regulations. At the beginning of the RENA determination allocation process, the California Department of Housing and Community Development provides a RENA determination to each council of governments in the region in our state. Once our council of governments receive the housing needs numbers, they develop a methodology to distribute the need to our city, which we must then plan for our share of regional housing needs. By updating our city general plans and housing elements, the importance of this RENA program is to elevate the state's housing crisis, and coupled with the sheer magnitude of our needed housing compared to what has been built in the past, there's a severe risk to the credibility of the process unless it is transparent, credible, and robust. However, AB 2485 will mitigate such risk by improving the development of the RENA determination by ensuring its accuracy and transparency in two pivotal ways. First, AB 2485 would establish procedures for the department to publicize its data, sources, analysis, and methodology before finalizing a regional determinations. Second, AB 2485 requires the department to establish and convene a panel of experts to advise the department on its assumption, data, and analysis before making its final determination on a region. And the implication of basing our city's local housing elements on an inadequate RENA determinations are significant. It could lead to underaccounted for housing units, resulting in the failure to meet the housing needs of our communities. This outcome is made even more critical even than that RENA accounts for future growth as well as our current needs. And I want to talk about, this is the main reason I want our council to support this. In March 2022, the state auditor conducted an emergency audit to examine the RENA processes and identify several errors in the department's housing projections, resulting in a decrease in the housing amounts. Specifically, Sacramento Council of Governments fell short by 2,484 housing units, and Santa Barbara by 1,338 units. The state audit attributed the miscalculation to the lack of oversight and staff data entry and the failure to consider all factors required by state law in its estimates. Therefore, it's imperative that the determinations provided to each region and the housing allocation supplied to each city be as accurate as possible while ensuring that the communities using these numbers are confident in that accuracy. And that's why I brought this forward, because I thought it's very important that other cities like Skag, the city of Riverside, and other cities are behind this. And I think we as a planning commission should ask our city council to send a support letter in support of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Terrell. Do we have any comments on that?
Can I make a motion?
Yeah, this commission can take whatever action it deems necessary on this item.
Could I make a motion to direct staff to send a recommendation that the planning commission ask them to issue a support letter in support of AB 2485? That's
Yep.
my motion.
Yes, we can.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion second to have a letter by the Plan Commission to City Council for support of AB 245. So, we have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Zeitz,
Yes.
Commissioner Terrell,
Yes.
Commissioner Stefan,
Yes.
Commissioner Kobian,
I'll abstain.
Commissioner Desjardins,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Baker,
I'll abstain.
Chairperson Gonzalez.
Yes. Motion passes. Okay. Now we move on to staff comments. Do we have any staff comments?
Yes, thank you. I have a couple of items. First and foremost, I'd like to wish this commission and everybody a happy Memorial Day on Monday, and good time off, and a day of remembrance for everybody. And lastly, and last but not least, I would like to make an announcement that it's unfortunate to our division in this commission that we are losing our very own Rachel Ramirez. She is shifting over to another role within the city, so we're not losing her as part of our family, but she is leaving us here. Patty will be assisting at the time being, but we will miss her and we wish her luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Congratulations.
And we thank her for everything.
Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda, Planning Commissioner comments. Do we have any commissioner comments?
Yes, I do.
Commissioner Dejanay.
You guys know me, I'm pretty silent, you know, so indulge me for a moment. You know, I've been in this city since the early 70s. I think as the time when my father came to March Air Force Base, I was considered I think the term was a military brat. Right. You know, I've attended elementary school, middle school, high school. I even attended RCC before it became Moreno Valley College. I was able to attain my bachelor's degree, my master's degree. I hold 3 teaching credentials, and I'm all doing this working out of Moreno Valley. I'm currently employed at the Moreno Valley Unified School District. I've been there for over 36 years. I'm also a college professor at National University. I've been on many different youth organizations. I started in the safety committee, then I did the 4th of July committee here, and now you guys know me as a planning commissioner. I was appointed over 6 years ago, and in that time I've learned a lot. I've grown to just love working with the staff and my commissioners here, and I've learned a lot about how the city operates. With that being in the early 70s, I've been in this city for over 52 years. I don't look it. Yeah. But, yeah, maybe not a day over 30 years. I just remember the orange growth. I remember when they used to bring out sheep to clear the empty fields. Yeah, we used to have orange growth fights and running up and down the city on our bicycles. We used to ride bicycles with sissy bars on them going up and down the city. And I've watched the city grow over the many years. You know, I have a stake. I have a stake planted here in the city. And with that being said, with my many years of education and many years of experience, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you this is my official announcement for campaign, and I'm going to run for City Council for District 3. thank you for allowing me to say that. So I'm throwing my hat in the ring, and we're gonna have a great time.
I would like to congratulate you, Alvin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dejanay.
I will call you.
Any other planning commissioner comments? Okay. The planning commission, I just want to adjourn on, as Robert said, on Memorial Day, that everyone has a great weekend, and we remember our veterans this day. Planning commission meeting is adjourned at 6:46 p.m.